Internet! Welcome back! Survivor Season 40 preview. We got a couple of guests with us here. We're going to talk all about the season. All winners. Winners at war. The good, the bad, and the ugly coming up. Before we get too far, if you're sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything of the new season, all the content. We're recording this a week before the season starts, so everything, all season long, give us your updates, give us your feedback, and let us know what you think. Subscribe so you don't miss anything. You can find me on Twitter, YoGrabAGeb. You can find Jessica on Twitter at
JustT820.
You can like our Facebook page, facebook.com/PaperMoreProductions, YouTube, subscribe, and email the show, papermoreproductions@gmail.com. A lot of great stuff here. We have both of our guests from last season who did the draft with us last season. We're going to talk all about this season and kind of what we're going to do. Changing things up a little bit, but still having a lot of fun and hopefully picking the right winner this time. But I think Bailey...
Repeat.
We're giving Bailey two people this season. The two that we don't pick is on Team Bailey.
Perfect.
Right, Bailey? Yes. Bailey's over there, too. He's just kind of chilling right now. We love Bailey. He's cute. Okay. So, real quick, before we get too far into it, Winners at War, Season 40, all-winner season. What do you guys think? How do you feel about Season 40 being all winners and the what we know about it so far?
I prefer that it's all winners and not just some people that have played before and the nobodies, because we all saw how that ended up the last time they tried that.
Not a good...
And just talking to you, I'm glad that I'm pretty pleased with the cast. More often, more people I know than not. I was a little cautious on who they would get, but they got good amount. They got good amount of good winners. Only a few that I didn't recognize or I needed a refresher on, so no complaints.
Cool. So we'll see how it goes. I said I'm definitely excited about it. There's a lot of recent people because they were saying they didn't think they'd have enough winners that people want to see again. So they went with a lot of recent winners. They missed a few, no doubt. There's a couple of winners. I don't know how you have a season of winners without Richard Hatch. To me, Richard Hatch is Survivor. And when you don't have Richard Hatch on a season of winners, it kind of waters down the season quite a bit. A couple of winners, I would like to have seen Mike Holloway again, for example, who is on the season. But overall, for the most part, everybody wanted to see is here. Some people who said they'd never play again are here, and I'm really excited for that too. So we'll break it all down. One thing I'm definitely a little bit cautious about is the return and possible permanent addition of the Edge of Extinction. Did you guys hear about that news?
No.
Edge of Extinction is back.
I think you told me about that. Not a fan.
Not a fan. Edge of Extinction is back. I hope they learned their lesson. They probably didn't. I hope they learned their lesson from the season 38. And Jeff Probst said they are considering making it a permanent part of the game.
Ugh.
Which I think is horrible. I hope they don't do that. But we'll talk all about it. We'll break it down here. Basically what we're going to do here, since I know every winner, I'll kind of give my take on every winner. Anybody who wants to throw in their opinion can throw in their opinion. And then at the end here, we'll probably do a separate post or whatever predicting our teams and going over our winners and who we think's going to win, who we think's going to go. We'll go over that a little bit at the end, how that's going to work. But Mr. Beback, as the winner, I'll tell you this right now, as the winner from last season, the perk you get this season, unlike in the NFL when you win the Super Bowl, you're allowed the last pick. For you, that you won last season, you don't have to decide now, but you get to pick the draft order going for this draft.
Okay.
It will be a snake draft, so last goes first goes last, and vice versa, but you get to pick the order for the first round.
I'll take it.
So that will be your perk for winning. Congratulations on that. It's going to be a crapshoot, guys. Everybody who's in this thing has won, and some of them have been out early, oftentimes. So one of our winners could very easily be the first boot because it's a crapshoot. Anybody can win. Anybody can be the first boot. So it'll be very interesting to see where it goes. But without further ado, let's dive in here. Let's talk about the cast. We'll break it down a little bit. And again, you guys have any opinions, throw them in. But we'll just kind of rip through this pretty rapid fire because I'm assuming if you're watching this video, you're a Survivor fan and you know most of the people anyways. So I'm not spend too much time on it. But you probably know, again, if you've seen most seasons of the show, you probably have know most winners are. And again, this is for our benefit as well as yours, to kind of give you our takes and a refresher on everybody on the season. I'm sure not the only ones doing this, so I'm sure you can hear other places, but we appreciate you tuning in and giving us your time here today. We're going to have a little fun at the end of the draft and go from there. But without further ado, let's go ahead and go in alphabetical order, I believe, by last name?
Yes.
alphabetical order by last name. Let's start off with who is first. Jessica.
Natalie Anderson.
Nat Anderson. I am a huge fan. I didn't like her for most of her first season. She was on season 29, San Juan del Sur. It was not particularly a popular season. However, if you look at her tribe is the Hunahpu tribe. Let's look at the legends who came off the Hunahpu tribe from that season. She was aligned with Jeremy Collins. She was aligned with Kelly Wentworth. She was aligned with Keith Nall. So, whoa, what a cast right there. So, Natalie from season 29, the winner of season 29, it was Blood vs. Water, the only time they had all new players for Blood vs. Water. And her sister, Nadia, was the first person voted out of the season. Natalie went on to win the season. What a bookend. Identical twins, one's the first boot, one wins the game. Ridiculous. So Natalie is one of those players who she really, I thought the best part of her game was the last 2-3 weeks where she had a hidden immunity idol. She played it for a person she wasn't really even aligned with, brought the person onto her side, that person won the final immunity, brought her to the end, and she won. Natalie has been a player who is one of those players who has great strategic ability, but also is one of those people who people don't really anticipate is going to win the game because, one, she's okay in challenges, she's not great, but she also is kind of a loudmouth. And she was on Amazing Race twice. A lot of people hated her on the Amazing Race because she was just a loudmouth, annoying, and her and her twin together were just a lot to handle. So she isn't really taken seriously a lot, I think, in that regard, but she knows what she's doing. She goes out there, she can play hard, she can win the game. The name Natalie is historically a good name for a Survivor. They usually do really well. People named Natalie, so that's neither here nor there. But the winner of Survivor, San Juan del Sur, the first Blood vs. Water season, or the only Blood vs. Water season with all new players, the second rendition of Blood vs. Water. Any comments before we move on?
This is a good summary. I think based on what you were talking about there, I think I remember her now with that refresher. So thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem. She was on the season with Missy and Baylor, John and Jacqueline, and all them. That was basically the final five. Keith Nall was there. It was a great season. She was aligned with Jeremy, so we'll be interested to see if her and Jeremy had been on the same tribe at any point, or even starting there. They were not only were close friends on their season, they're close friends in real life, and it's well known that they're close friends. So all those factors together could put a target on one of them going early in the game. So we'll see what happens, but that's definitely a good start. Who is the next one on the list there, Jessica?
Tyson Apostle.
Tyson Apostle, the only player in Survivor history to play Survivor 3 times and win on the 3rd time. A lot of people have played 3 times, a lot of people played 4 times, 2 times. He's the only one who played only 3 times and win on their 3rd time. So Tyson won Survivor Blood vs. Water, the original Blood vs. Water, my personal favorite season. He's got plenty of Survivor nicknames: the Big Bad Wolf, Russell Feathers, the One-Armed Dude. I believe he was called by Hayden Moss, called him the One-Armed Dude, because he broke his arm in the season, and actually he was his first 2 seasons he was voted out for being a threat, challenge beast, very good at challenges. Very much a villain. He likes to say what's on his mind and just make fun of everybody. So I love that about him. Obviously, a big fan. But he in his season he won, he hurt his arm and couldn't compete in the challenges at all. His team was still good enough to win most of the challenges without him. And then he got to the end, and nobody considered him as a threat to win the challenges down the stretch because he had a broken arm or a shoulder injury, whatever. And he ended up winning the last 2 challenges anyways, despite that. And got himself to the end with people who were easily beaten. So he was on one of the split half new, half returnee season, and the new players dominated that season, or the returnees dominated that season. Tyson cruised to an easy win. It was pretty much a foregone conclusion from the final 7. He even convinced Sierra to vote out her mother that season. So it was quite a great performance. Tyson is always he's been a goofball. And never really took the show seriously. When he started doing so with season 3, he rose to the challenge. So definitely exciting for Tyson. Definitely excited to see what he can do for his 4th time out. Now that he's got a child, he's married, and all those things. Definitely a different spot in his life than it used to be. Still a goofball, but a little more tempered now, and a little more mild now, I think. So we'll see how it goes. But Tyson's always been a fun, social player, life of the party, and we'll see what he can do this year. Any comments on Tyson?
Wasn't he in a Showman's Duel in one of the seasons?
He was in a feud.
If I remember correctly.
He was. I wouldn't call it a showman. I'd call it a feud. Him and this girl Sierra pretty much hated each other. And like they asked him, who do you like on your cast? And he named every single person but her. He said Jeff Probst he liked. And he wasn't even playing the game, and he said he hated Sierra. But he was obviously his girlfriend was on Blood vs. Wild with him. So that's what I'm thinking. Yeah. So Rachel.
Because if I thought I remember on the reunion when he won or something.
Yep.
One of the cast members said, "Now you can take care of her." Or
yep.
Something.
Yep. The late great Caleb Bankston, God rest his soul. He did say that when he casted the winning vote for Rachel for Tyson, go buy Rachel a nice house, which he did. And Rachel was voted out early because Tyson was a threat. And they wanted to try, weaken Tyson. And he had a chance to switch with her to take her spot in the Redemption Island. And she said no, go in, and he did. And it was cool. He actually showed a side of himself that was not very well known, a little bit softer side that season, with all the emotion of the family and loved ones being in it. That really made him much more endearing instead of just being this cartoon character. That really helped him win over the jury. So Tyson is definitely one who was really pumped to see back, for sure. Who's next?
Danny Boatwright.
Danny Boatwright. A little bit surprised to hear back. I don't have a problem with it. She won the first ever captain season, where there was a captain for each team. There was two returnees. It was Stephanie LaGrossa and Bobby John Drinkard. Were the returning players on season 11 of Guatemala. They had just played on Cerro Palau, and they were the Oolong tribe who lost every single challenge. Never won a challenge. They got down to 2 people left, and then they lost it again, and they had to vote each other out, and they couldn't vote each other out because there was only 2 people left, and it was ridiculous. So they came back the next season with all new players, to captain teams, and Danny was was the player who. It was a season with Gary Hogaboon, former NFL player, and she's the only one who knew who he was. And it kind of was like blackmailing him a little bit in the game. It was in its own age, though. First season ever with an immunity idol. First time he had an immunity idol. So it was way back then. And she was one of the players who was kind of the opposition to the people in charge. And she just kept winning challenges down the stretch. And then she got to the end with somebody that nobody really liked and took the votes. So it was one of those things. She didn't really have a ton of agency in the game, but it was just a likable alternative. And in the final 2, that's really all you needed to be, was a likable alternative. And they wanted to get rid of her, they couldn't because she won challenges on the stretch and got the end and won. So that's really all her story is. But obviously that was a long time ago. That was season 11. So obviously this is 10 plus years ago. So I'm interested to see where she is now in life and what her new what changes have come about to. Her game, and obviously if she's still the same person or if she's very different. That's one of the ones I'm really, really excited to see if they have evolved at all with the times of the game. So, anything else? Who is next? The old cowboy from Idaho, I believe, right?
Cowboy?
Is that who it is?
Sophie Georgina Clark?
Oh, I thought it was Ben.
No.
Sorry, I'm looking in the wrong row. Sorry, Sophie. Sophie G. Clark, my bad. Sophie Clark was on the show The Doctors for a while. She's a doctor. She won season 23. She played on one season, and won that season. She played with Coach and Ozzy on Survivor South Pacific. Also with the infamous Brandon Hance. She was in a strong alliance with Coach. She got to the end of the game, and it was down to basically... It was either Ozzy wins immunity, wins the game, or somebody beats him, and Coach couldn't beat him, Albert couldn't beat him, but Sophie beat him. Sophie beat Ozzy, won immunity from him, went on to the final 3, and basically told the jury that Coach was her puppet, and completely emasculated him. It was pretty hilarious, and she got the votes to win. And so she didn't get much of an edit. She's way smarter, and she's got a great mind for the game. She didn't get a great edit. She didn't really get a lot of airtime because Ozzy and Coach were hogging up most of the airtime, but if she would have got the credit she deserved, I think she would be much more touted as a better winner because she's a very, very talented and bright individual. So I'm excited to see what she can do. And a second chance with maybe, again, it's going to be a lot of big characters, but I think she got the strategic chops to definitely win. Who's next?
Jeremy Collins.
Jeremy 2 Collins, the winner of Survivor Second Chances. He was voted in by the fans to come play again in Survivor Cambodia, season 31, so now a good 9 seasons ago. He played at first on Survivor San Juan del Sur, was a threat to win the game until his allies turned on him, voted him out, and then he was real upset, voted for Natalie to win. They are great friends, have been great friends since, and he's obviously now has had, since he played the first time, the second time he played, he had to keep the secret that his wife was pregnant the whole season. He knew a fireman married to a police officer with 2 kids and 1 on the way would be too good of a story. He had to keep it on the wraps. People would vote him off if they heard that. So he had to keep it on the wraps. He revealed at the final tribal that his wife was pregnant, and he found out that he's having a son, his first son. Since then, he's had another son. So now he's got 4 kids. He's a fireman, married to a police officer with 4 kids. And he's definitely as much of a threat to win as he ever has been. Jeremy is one of those guys who everybody likes him. He makes everybody feel calm. When you're freaking out, my God, they're gonna vote me out. He's like, hey, let's do this. But I'll handle this. In his second season, he had 2 idols. He played one on his number 1 ally, Stephen Fishback, to save him, and then he also played one on himself at the final 6 for the infamous no-vote tribal council. Every single vote that was cast was canceled out by an idol, which was awesome. So Jeremy is one of the things, with age, so you get a little older, you're a little bit, grayer, you're not as fast, not as quick, not as smart. You're still social. And Jeremy's biggest thing and his biggest asset to his game is the social game, always has been. And I think he's not going to lose that. The only thing is he's definitely known as a threat. I mean, Jeremy's not going to sneak by. People know Jeremy Collins. I mean, people still reference him every day. Every season, people talk about, I'll play like Jeremy Collins. So, good luck. It's going to be an uphill battle for him, but he certainly has the social game. And that is, that no matter who's physically or mentally where, the social game is always a great equalizer, and I think he's going to be a good spot for that. Any comments on Jeremy Collins? Obviously, you saw him play. You know a little bit about him, but I was definitely pulling for him once he got to the finals, final 6. I was definitely hoping he would pull it off, and he did, which was great. So, Jeremy definitely, the Boston Fireman, and I'm excited to see what he can do for a third go around. He was, a little bit of a hothead actually his first season, but really reined it in and played a masterful game in the second season. One of the best games I've ever seen played. So we'll see what he can do for Encore. Who's next?
Sandra Diaz-Twine.
Who is that? Never heard of that before.
The only people I know on here.
Yeah, Sandra Diaz-Twine. She is, if you want to talk about the greatest players of all time, the Mount Rushmore of Survivor players, she's on it. This is now her 4th time playing. She won the first 2 times she played. The 3rd time she lost, but the 3rd time I think was her most impressive game. The 3rd time she evolved with the game. She played hard. The first 2 games first time she was basically a more likable alternative. The 2nd time she was kind of the same way. She just was willing to go with the flow and was likable. The 3rd time she went out and played hard. She slayed 2 other previous winners. She had the famous quote, "The queen stays queen," and she is certainly the queen of Survivor. She is, again, you want to talk about greatest players of all time. She knows the game. She's still up to date. She watches every season. She takes notes on everything. You want to talk about Survivor brain? It's Sandra Diaz-Twine. And again, talk about the greatest players of all time. Definitely top 4, no doubt about it. And maybe even number 1. I mean, only player to ever win twice, so that's certainly something. And if she won a 3rd time, I mean, I would love it. It's going to be so hard for us to do because everybody knows how good she is. But man, if she could, wouldn't that be something? Any comments, questions about Sandra? Anything about point out?
Surprised she's playing again.
Yeah, I am too. I think they rolled a truck of money up to her house so please come play.
Probably.
They did that. They probably had to do that though with last season too.
Oh, certainly, and again, she's been out there for a while now. But I think one thing I will say about Sandra, Sandra is one of those players who, if I was Sandra, I won the second time, I would be like, I'm done. I don't care what you do. I'm not tarnishing my legacy. But Sandra's not about legacy. Sandra's about playing the game.
Yeah.
She wants to play the game. She wants to have fun. She wants to do it. You always said Sandra says she's got 39 days to make $1 million. So she's got to go do it. It's her occupation.
It's her job. She looks at Survivor like a job. She has 39 days to get her $1 million.
That's it. I love that. In this case, $2 million. She's playing for $2 million this year, which is awesome. Sandra is she's just one of the greatest of all time, and will always be a legend, regardless of how this season turns out. She could be the first boot this season, and still be one of the best of all time. Her struggle again is doing the physical challenges. She's not great in challenges. She's pretty good at puzzles overall, but she's not great at challenges. So if there's a reason to vote something out early, I don't think these players are going to play that simple. Yeah. I don't think they're going to be like, well, we're losing challenges, that's about Sandra. They're going to assume that there's going to be twists and turns and swaps and galore. So I don't think they're going to vote something out because they're weak, which is perfect for Sandra, because Sandra is the kind of person, if you don't get her before the merge, you're not getting her. She's going to be in the end and win the game. So the only time she lost the game is when she went pre-merge. Other than that, she gets to the end, and you're just like, how is she here again? And why am I voting for her to win? So I'm really, really excited to see what she can do. I'm really excited about a lot of these people, but Sandra for sure is one who's, she still knows the game. She's still one of the greatest, and I hope they didn't show her current cast that they had a statue head of her at the last season, because that's going to really, really put a big statue head size target on her if they do that. But regardless, anything else, or ready to move on? All right, what's next?
Ben Drybergen.
Ben Drybergen, yes, that was the cowboy. The cowboy from Idaho. So yes, the first season you watched it mostly entirely. Yes, that was Ben's season. What do you guys think of Ben? Let's let you guys take this one.
I mean, I was rooting for Ben the whole time.
Absolutely.
I was too likable guy.
Absolutely.
Happy to see him back.
Happy to see him back for sure. I think the game Ben played is very hard to duplicate. Finding idols like that. I mean, he's going to be playing with Tony Vlachos, the Greek god of idol finding. So there's not going to be enough idols to go around for all these people who are good at finding idols. That being said, Ben is still likable. He's still a massive threat. I think it's very hard for him to win again. I think he's got a really, really. I mean, it was hard enough for him to win last time. They want to get rid of him because he was a big threat then. Yeah. What is he now?
Yeah, but everybody else is a threat that's there too. So
absolutely, he can find idols, which is great. He's definitely he's good enough in challenges. He's strong. He didn't win an individual million down the stretch because they had Chrissy, who's the challenge beast. But I'm excited to see what he can do. I mean, he's one of those ones who I think he's gonna be in a tough spot because everybody knows he's a threat. But if you're going to be on a season where you're going to be obviously an overt threat, at least he's on a season with other people who are also overt threats. So we shall see.
Fair point.
Well, who's next? Unless I have anything else to say about Ben.
No.
Who's next?
Michelle Fitzgerald.
Mish Fitz. So Michelle Fitzgerald was the winner of season 32, the second Brains vs. Beauty vs. Brawn. Aubrey Rocco's first season. So Aubrey from 38. Michelle was the one from her season. It came down to it where it was, and Michelle had the edit that was like, she's winning this game. We don't know why. She hasn't really done much, but she's gonna win because she's getting all the airtime. And that's kind of what happened. She came down to it. It was down to Final Four. Michelle won the Final Four immunity. Final Five, somebody got evacuated from the game. Final Four, she wins immunity, and then it puts a fire making challenge between Aubrey and Sydney. Aubrey wins, so it's between Ty, Michelle, and Aubrey. And Aubrey played a great game. Played the better game, but the jury didn't really like Aubrey because she was, as you saw her last season, she was trying to make all these more personal connections. Well, she didn't make enough personal connections the first season, and they didn't really see her game. They just saw her as like someone who was just there. Whereas Michelle was, had the social bonds that Aubrey didn't have. Michelle didn't have the strategic game, and won one more challenge than Aubrey, but that was pretty much a wash too. But Michelle had the social game, and everybody liked her, so she got the votes over Aubrey. Very, very honestly, if you want to talk about maybe the most controversial winner on the season, that's Michelle Fitzgerald. She won. She was at the time the youngest player to ever win. Only player born in the 1990s to win the game. Since then, I believe one other player has won who's been age bracket, but very controversial win. second Brains versus Beauty versus Braun, and she edged out Aubrey Rocco. And it's still, a lot of people are saying Aubrey should have won. And I'm not really sure what camp I'm in on that. In that regard, I believe the winner should win. But there's definitely a case to be made that Aubrey should have won last season. Any comments? I know you kind of
nice summary. It jogged my memory now, and I ought to rely on you instead of reading the cast bios then.
Yeah, for sure. She again, was the Jersey girl. She was, she aligned with Julia from Boston. That they are both still friends and all, and work and live together now. So, definitely a controversial winner for sure. But again, one of those ones who's not very assuming. Isn't physically assuming. Just nice, likable, makes good bonds, and if things break the right way for her, she could certainly win again. She got a lot of things to go her way. A lot of good breaks. People getting pulled from the game. Aubrey's top 2 allies got evacuated, so that certainly helped Michelle. But Michelle was friendly with everybody. Whichever way the tide went, Michelle could have jumped on and been fine because she had bonds with everybody. So that's her the biggest strong suit for sure. Anything else? What's next? Wendell. So we all know Wendell. Wendell, winner of Survivor Ghost Island. You guys tell me what you got to think about Wendell.
I mean, I liked Wendell. I figured he was going to win pretty much over Dom and Laurel.
Yep, and you were pretty much had Wendell from the beginning. That was the first season I think you watched all the way through, and at least from the merge you had Wendell.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about Wendell? What do you think about his chances here?
He's average. I mean, I don't think he's going to be overly dominating on anything, but the newer ones are where people might target them more because they played more recently. Yeah, and they know the game better because they've played more recently in theory. I think Wendell's one of those players. He's kind of like Jeremy in the way where he's likable and friendly, but I don't think he's overtly. I think he's way more chill than even Jeremy. I think Wendell is better set up for this game second time around because again, he relied so heavily on the social game. He was good enough in challenges. He was amazing. He found idols, but it wasn't like he's not known for being great at challenger, for finding idols, for having this great strategic mind. He's just a nice, likable dude, and he's chill. And when the shit's hitting the fan, everything's going crazy all around you, you want that chill person aligned with you, who person who's gonna be like, "Hey man, no worries, we'll figure it out. Hey, I got your back," and then they actually do. The players who are gonna have a hard time, the ones who are known as flippers, who make moves. Yeah. The ones who are known as being loyal, I think, are going to be the ones who have the best shot. Again, not a great season, but if you look at the season as a retrospective of it's the Dom and Wendell story, it's a much better season. Yeah.
Yep.
Even when you look at it from that perspective. It was boring because it was one of those two winning, but also Wendell won the game, only player in Survivor history to have the final travel end in a tie, and the third place player had to cast the deciding vote. Right. So, pretty cool. And he'll always have that. And again, is he set up to win? Certainly possible. He's not going to jump off the screen as any one thing. So, we'll see. Who is next?
Adam Klein.
Adam Scott Klein. So, Adam Klein, winner of Survivor Millennials versus Gen X. I would say, of the 30s, that was the best season, in my opinion. Of the 30s. Maybe second chances with Jeremy, but I think that's the best season of the 30s. Zeke Smith's first season had Ken McNichol. That had David Wright's first season. Adam Klein was winner of that season. Some people like him, some people hate him. I personally think he was a game-changing winner, and here's why. He played the game that I think most people want to play. He was in the story. He was part of the storyline. He was involved, but also he was, I think, a important part of the season because he was always aligned with the person making the move, but never was the one seen making the move. He aligned with Zeke, and he aligned with whoever. Zeke made a move, and Adam was right there with him. And then they're like, "Well, who made the move?" Well, that was Zeke's move. So then Zeke got clipped for making the move. And then they said, "Well, he's aligned with Will now." Well, then Will made a move. Will got clipped. He was aligned with David. Well, Dave made a move. David got clipped. So he was always the one who was like this. He was always the assistant coach to everybody who was out there. He was always the second command to everybody who was out there. So when the person who made the move got targeted for making the move, Adam can still take credit for making the move, but that he'd fall back behind the radar. Like they would both go make a move together. Then Adam would fall back, and the person would be left taking the bullets. And and then he would just kind of sneak his way to the end. So I think Adam played a fantastic game. I think he was a very solid winner. He also at the final tribal council, one who had a very difficult story. He told the story about how his mom was dying of lung cancer at the final vote, and he definitely got a lot of votes that way. He played the best game, I think. Anyways,
which I hated.
Yes, a lot of people didn't like that. He got a lot of votes. I think he was going to get those votes anyways. He was up against Ken, who won a lot of challenges, but it was had Sir Squiddington. He had no apparently he had no social game, and then Hannah, who was a flake. So he was probably winning that game either way. But I think Adam played a great game, and very very likable kid, and got the votes. So any other comments or thoughts on Adam?
No.
Played a very transcending game. I wrote a blog post a few months ago, or a couple years ago actually at this point, about Adam, about the 10 greatest game changers of all time. I think it was for Survivor Game Changers, and Adam was one of the ones on there because the game he played was you make big moves, but then don't keep making big moves. Make a big move, then fall back. Make another big move, fall back. Don't stay in control overtly, because that's when you're going to get targeted. Because the person who makes the move is the next one to get taken out. So I think he's really a transcending player. I don't know how much credit he gets for his gameplay. I think a lot of people do. Again, remember him for the mom speech and his mom passing away at the finale and all those things. So I don't know how many people really remember him as a great player. So that could be good for him. If people know that this kid's a really smart player, super duper fan, knows the game like the back of his hand, super strategic, social, and likable. If that becomes known and everybody who's watching this knows that about him, he's going to have a tough game. A tough road ahead. But he certainly played a very good game his first time, and I think he ushered in a new era of Survivor, the post-Tony era of Survivor, which we'll talk about in 20 in a minute. Who's next?
Yul Kwan.
Yul Kwan, a.k.a. the guy who was put in one of the heads of the FCC under the Obama administration. True story. Look it up. Yul Kwan, he was the winner of Survivor 13, Survivor Race Wars, it has become known. It was Survivor season, Cook Islands. I kid you not, it was white people versus black people versus Hispanics versus Asians. True story. Actually happened. Look it up. It was actually a very good season for casting, believe it or not. They had Yul Kwan came out of it. They had Parvati Shallow came out of it. They had Candace Woodcock Cody come out of it. They had Jonathan Penner come out of it. They had Ozzy Luth come out of it. So some very, very big name players who have played Survivor multiple times, and even some winners have come out of that cast. So a great cast. The premise was a little bit, but whatever. That was also the season of the God Idol, first ever God Idol. It was an idol that you could play after the votes were read. So if you got all the votes, you just play the idol. So it was basically a foolproof way to get to the end. They're not going to vote for you because if they vote for you, the next person is getting voted out. Whoever you vote for is getting voted out, no matter what happens. So he had the idol. He was able to play it, able to leverage it well. Say, hey, I'm going to give you my idol if you vote for me. Of course, the person will vote with him, and he'd vote them out. But Yul is very, very, very strategic. One of the smartest people ever played the game. Parvati said of him, "Brains are sexy," which kind of. Hi, Bailey. Bailey didn't like that comment.
No. Oh, man. Hey. That's garbage night. Yeah, people are taking their cans out.
So, I think he kind of started the Big Bang Theory thing, the popular nerds being popular. Yul's again, a really, really big time player. He hasn't played in a long time, so I'm interested to see kind of what he still knows about the game, if he's still following me, if he's still keeping up on it, and if he's able to because it's a different game now than when Yul played, and he gets a lot of flack for playing a game with a God Idol that he had, and he couldn't be voted out whole season, and even with that, he still only beat Ozzy by one vote. So we'll see how Yul does. I think he's way better than he gets credit for. He's one of the smartest people to ever play the game, and certainly could do some big time damage. But also could flame out if he's not really up on the current game and how it's played now. Any comments on Yul?
No.
Yul Kwan. All right, great. So winner of season 13 was right there. Who's next?
Amber Mariano.
Amber Burkich Mariano. So Amber Burkich played on Survivor season 2. and basically I'd say almost everybody on season 2 has been back. I mean, there's only a couple people who played Survivor 2 that have been back. 50 million people watch that show, so it's a household name. She is married to Rob Mariano, so obviously I remember Mariano. She got married to him famously. He proposed to her at the finale of their season they played together, season 8, Survivor All Stars. They both made all the moves together, both screwed over the entire jury. The entire jury hated them, but it was the final 2, so you had to pick one. And so before the votes were read, Rob proposed. She said yes, and they have 4 kids now, and all girls. So Rob's loving his life. I imagine with 5 women in his house. Amber is the winner of Survivor All Stars. She hasn't played since season 8. She played on 2 and then 8, and then helped raise 4 kids. So it's a very, 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 very different game than it was then. And she wasn't outspoken or loud or anything then. She was kind of a coattail rider then, to say the least. Not a very popular winner, not a very good winner. But again, it's a new game, new story. We'll see what happens. It's all, again, I'm not giving my strategy on who I'm picking, but oftentimes it's the not very well known player who wins these type of seasons. So we shall see. Any comments on Mrs. Mariano?
No. I never has me.
Yeah. What's next?
Rob Mariano.
Rob Mariano. Okay, well that's weird. This is the only season that we've had a married couple competing against each other, except for Blood vs. Water. So we'll see. And this is also it's weird because this is a married couple competing against each other, which is the only ones who are like that. There's nobody else is competing with their spouse. Nobody else has had the spouse that's won the game. But there's also a lot of very good friends out there. Rob Mariano is very close with Sandra, with Tyson, with obviously his wife. So we'll see how he does. This is his 5th time playing. He won the fourth time against a bunch of robots, basically. It was a season that was basically designed for him to win. It was Survivor Redemption Island. No disrespect to him, he was the best player, and it wasn't close. Nobody on Earth, nobody was even. Bailey!
Come here.
There's somebody just pulling the driveway next door, so we gotta bark at them because that's his job. So Rob, it was head and shoulders the best player in that season. Nobody was even close. Nobody was even close to his level, and so people don't give him a lot of credit for his win. I mean, obviously Jeff Probst loves him. Jeff Probst wants to have his other kids, Rob. One thing about Rob is he plays poker now. He's obviously much more mature than that smart ass from Boston who played his first season 4. Played the first time season 4, then he played again on 8, and then on 20, and then won 22. So he's the only player I played 5 times. Obviously he would be the one to do it, and but he has a different kind of mind for the game. Obviously when he was a smart ass kid from Boston, or the kid from who was screwing everybody over in Survivor All Stars, the last time he played, he showed that he's got the mind for the game. He's got the psychological aspect of the game down. He's Boston freaking Rob, though. I mean, the name alone should make him a huge target. He is, again, on Mount Rushmore Survivor. I don't think he's as good as some of the other players, but he certainly is not a scrub by any means. So we'll see how he does. I think he's also got a lot of friends here. I mean, Tyson's his friend in real life. I mean, he's got a lot of people who are his friends in real life. Sandra Diaz finds his friend in real life. So we'll see how it turns out for him, but he certainly is going to be an interesting one to watch. What do you guys think?
I mean, he was just back to be a teacher on Survivor, so that may, help him. He was back in the culture before he played again. So.
Yeah. He knows the game. I mean, he
but
obviously
it
knows the
also
game.
might bite him in the ass too.
It could be a double-edged sword. He knows the game very, very well, but also he knows the game very, very well. And if they want any airtime, they better get rid of him because they're going to give him all the airtime.
He also got the experience back, though, living out in the wilderness right before he plays, making fires, getting food. So him and Sandra have a little bit of step up with that stuff.
Absolutely. Again, he won season 22. He played on 4, 8, and he was runner-up of 8. His wife won. And then he played again 20, was an early boot. He was pre-jury season 4, run-up season 8, pre-merge of 20. Even though he's running that game, Russell screwed him up hardcore, and then he won 22. So Fourth time playing. The last time he played, he won. He hasn't played since. He said he was never come back. He said he was done. But, I mean, again, he probably wants people to drive a truck to his house with a bunch of money to come play. And I think I'm sure he did. Not that he needs the money. He also played Amazing Race twice, by the way, with him and his wife. So,
that's nice.
yeah, he played Amazing Race twice. The first time, they finished second. The second time, they were dominating the whole thing, got bumped out on a leg and lost. And they went like fourth overall. But, cool. So what's next? Who's next on our list here?
Someone that I've heard is many people's favorite, Parvati Shallow.
Parvati Shallow. Mr. Bebek's favorite, probably.
Yes.
I'm guessing he's going to pick her. We'll see. Parvati Shallow. She played on the season with Yule. That was her first season. She came back on Survivor Micronesia. So she played on 13 and played again on 16. On 16, she was kind of the player who's like, okay, she's back, I guess, because she's, people think she's good looking, but like, why else is she back? And she ended up heading up the arguably greatest alliance of all time, the Black Widow Brigade, which was her, Siri Fields, Amanda Kimmel, and Natalie Bolton. And they slayed all the men, and they got to the end, and it was supposed to be a final 3. And if it was a final 3, Siri wins that game, but it ends up being a surprise final 2. And they had to vote out one person, and they well, Siri's definitely going to win, so we got to get rid of her. And it was her against Amanda in the end, and Parvati won it. That was arguably the best seasons of Survivor, and it was fans were favorites, so the fans didn't have a chance. The only one who had a chance was Natalie, because she just leached onto the other players. They got Eric, a player, to literally give up immunity, so they could vote him out. That is Parvati. Everybody for years said they want to play like Parvati. But Parvati, you can't play Parvati. Parvati is smarter and better than you. She will flirt with anybody and get in their head. Oh, she likes me. I want to be her friend. Women want to be her friend. Men want to be with her. That's Parvati. And that's the game she plays. So all the girls she's with, they're like, oh, she's so cool and so nice. I want to align with her and help her win. And then all the guys are like, oh, yeah, she's flirting with me. She probably likes me. Maybe I'll do something. That's Parvati's game. Doesn't matter if you're who you are. That's her game, and that was her game. She played in 13. She played in 16. She was the target of the first tribal council. Her villains. She was on Survivor Heroes vs. Villains, with most of these players were also on the Villains tribe. She was on the Villains tribe. Sandra was on the Villains tribe with her, as was Rob and Tyson. And the Villains tribe, the first tribal council they went to, Parvati was the target. They said, we gotta get rid of Parvati. She's too good at this game, we gotta get rid of her. And guess what? She finished second. And only missed it by 2 votes. She almost won the whole game again. She is as good as advertised. That being said, she played on 13, 16, and 20. It's now season 40. A lot has changed. She's gotten married. She's had a kid. She's got a whole different part of her life. She's a lot older now. We'll see what happens to her.
People and culture have also changed.
A lot has changed. Absolutely, a lot has changed for sure. We will see. She's one of those players who is still, again, great, top 4 greatest players of all time. One of the best winners of all time. One of the best players of all time. She shouldn't have come close to winning season 20. Shouldn't have come close. She should have been. Should have been out early, but got to the finals and almost won again. Had Sandra not been there, she would have won again. So. Excellent. Again, one of the all-time greatest players. But again, if season 20 they knew to target her early, season 40 they're gonna know to target her early. So we'll see what she can do. See what she made of this season for sure. Any other comments on Parvati Shallow? Nothing. Me back? Nothing.
Just because I like her doesn't mean I'm gonna pick her early.
Okay.
But excited to see her back. How many girls on these seasons that are young and pretty and attractive call her out as Parvati 2.0. Oh, this person's Parvati 2.0.
There's never gonna be another Parvati. She is the
never be another one.
And she again, we'll see. It's been a long time since she's played. A lot has changed. A lot of her life and in society, like you said, has changed. So I don't know how well she's gonna do. But again, she's definitely gonna be a threat, and it's gonna be an uphill battle for her. As that said threat, but again, it's been 10 years, so maybe remember her. Who knows?
Everybody knows each other though.
Everybody knows each other. They still watch.
Your game is that this person's gonna flirt with you. You're obviously not gonna think they're full of shit.
Yeah, and certainly true.
Poop. Sorry.
You can say it. It's not a G-rated show. Cool. So I think so too. I think Parvati's got a tough road ahead, but we'll certainly see. Who's next?
Kim Spradlin Wolf.
Oh my goodness. So if you want to talk about my all-time favorite player of all time, my all-time best winner of all time, Kim Spradlin. Kim is Boston Rob, but better. Okay, she played once. She's won once. She won her season. Going away, everybody was playing chess. Everybody was playing checkers. She was playing chess at a high level. Okay, she was the best player on her season, and there was nobody else who was even remotely close. She played on this season with it was one world, so they all were on the same beach. All the tribes were on one beach. It was a terrible season because it was Kim than everybody else, and Kim was by far the better player, best player out there. So, played with Troy Zan, his first season. He was saying, "I'm coming after you girls. I'm not letting you girls win this thing. I'm coming after you." He said, "Cool, you're funny." Voted him out. She also manipulated her whole. She had an alliance of 5. She again got an alliance of 3 guys. It was 5 women because when women stick together, they win. Lesson to be learned in life and in Survivor. 5. She had 5 women. She then brought in 3 dudes, Jay and Tyson, and Jay and Troyzen and Tarzan, and they all were like, "Okay, it's gonna be us going to the end. Us 3, you 3 guys, and us 2 girls, whatever, blah blah." The guys said, "Awesome." They turn on their own dudes, and then once they turn on all their own dudes, and she came out the numbers, she blew them out next. Kim dominated. She was again one of the best players. Just never was in a. She had an immunity idol. She kept on her person the entire season. Never even had a whiff of playing it. Was never a threat, never a target, and just went right from beginning to end, running the whole game, easy. She got to the final 3, and it was like 2 people didn't vote for her because they were mad. I mean, it was the easiest, most flawless game that's probably ever been played in Survivor history. So I can't say enough about Kim. Definitely one of the best. And she does nothing halfway. She went out, dominated the game. Got married a year later, had 3 kids in 3 years, and then is now playing Survivor again. So she does nothing halfway, and I'm super excited to see her play again. I'm excited to see her play again, but I also kind of wish she would just not tarnish her legacy, because she's again one of the best of all time. So we'll see what Kim can do. But you guys have any questions, comments, or thoughts on Kim?
No, I mean, you said she dominated the game, but did she dominate the game because the game wasn't good to begin with?
Well, she dominated Jeff Probst.
Yeah, you're comparing you said Boston Rob but better, but you said the season Boston Rob won, it was Boston Rob versus Robots.
Correct.
So is it the same for her?
Yeah.
The answer to your question is, I'll give you an answer to that question. That after Kim's season, Jeff Probst wrote a letter to casting saying, "Stop casting idiots." So yes, she had a lot of idiots on her tribe.
So that means she would not have been good to begin with.
She is.
Put her up against people that dominated, and you'll see.
So yes, so
because you're jogging my memory a little bit. I remember Troyzen, I remember Tarzan, and not too astute.
She didn't have anybody that was that much of a threat against her. I mean, obviously she had Kat Ederson, and Kat's like, I love blindsides. I think it's blindsided. There was a lot of stuff that was like, but what can you compare Kim to? Now we'll see.
Yeah.
Now we'll see.
You have to put them up against caliber that are actually
she
on par.
You can't say Kim's not good because she didn't play anybody good because we don't know who she played. She played the only sample size we have is her dominating. So again, I think even if she doesn't do great this season, I think she's still going to do very, very well. And I think she's going to be a strong contender. But the only sampling we have of Kim playing Survivor is against not great competition, and she dominated them. She smoked them. So again, if she barely won, I would say okay, maybe. But she did smoke them. But again, the competition wasn't good. So is it that they were that bad competition, or is she that good? I think it's a little bit of both.
But you don't know for sure.
We won't know for sure, even we'll know more in about a week. Mm-hmm. But maybe we won't because maybe it's who knows. It's again Kim in her prime against Boston Rob in his prime against Parvati in her prime. These people are not in their same.
That's what I mean. They're all
spotlight.
It's not prime.
Only the recent ones.
For sure. Any other comments or thoughts? Or want to move on?
Nope. We got 5 more to get through in 15 minutes.
Let's do it.
Cuts out.
Let's do it.
Sarah Lacina.
Sarah Lacina. You back remember Sarah Lacina?
Yes, sir.
She won Survivor Game Changers. Tell me about Sarah. What do you remember about her?
Great gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
Just had the social game and
she played. Yeah, I mean, she played for the first time with Tony. She was there's 2 Cops. She was in the Cops RS Alliance, and she played a pretty straight up honest game. She got blindsided by her allies. She played a little bit too hard, too fast at the merge. Got knocked out. Second time she came back, she played it on 28, and came back on 34. At 34, she said, "I'm not playing a cop this time. I'm playing a criminal this time." She befriended everybody and then stabbed them all right in the back. Got to the end, and they said, "Well, you're kind of grimy. Why did you do this?" She goes, "Well, when I'm undercover, I have to sometimes be a scumbag to get a drug dealer to give up information." And she said, "So that's what I did. That's what I did here. I had to play like a horrible person to find out who was making moves. And once I did, I was able to cut them and get to the end." And so I think Sarah's a very underrated winner. Doesn't get a lot of credit for the game she plays, and I think she coming up soon. I think she could form a nice alliance in the Iowa Alliance, because there's another player from Iowa who's also on this season, and Sarah's again a really good player. I think she's a little bit underrated, and I think she can definitely go far this season. Any other comments? All right, who is next?
Denise Stapley.
That is the other Iowa person, Denise Stapley. Now, Denise played on Survivor 25. She played with the 3 returning players, the old injured guy season, with Russell Swan, with Jonathan Penner, and with some other guy who's in prison. Beat the guy who's in prison to the final 3. And also played with Lisa Welchel and Jeff Kent that season.
Okay.
That was the season with the 3 tribes, and her tribe was Matt Singh. And Matt Singh is infamous because they had 4 immunity challenges. They lost 4 immunity challenges. Denise went to all 4 of the first immunities and survived them. Her and Malcolm were aligned. It was Malcolm's first season. The 2 of them got together day 1. It was an older lady with a younger dude. Got together day 1. They went at the end together. Went to the end of their tribe together. Then after their tribe lost, there were only 2 of them left. They got split up and put on other tribes. The tribe Malcolm went to won the rest of the immunities. When Denise went to, lost the rest of the immunities. They lost every immunity challenge. So she lost every immunity challenge pre-merge. Did not win a single immunity challenge pre-merge. Went through that whole tribe, knocked out that whole tribe, got to the merge. And again, went every tribal council then, because that's what you do after the merge. And I think she won 1 individual immunity and was exposed to the vote every single tribal council except for 1. Only person in Survivor history to go every single tribal council from beginning to end. Got to the end and smoked everybody else. Won, I think 5-2 or 6-2. 6-1 to 1. It was both the players got a vote, but she got all the votes. Veteran players were opening up to her and confiding in her. That's what she was doing. And I think also she has the greatest occupation of any Survivor player. She's a therapist. People confide in her every day. They tell her their deepest, darkest secrets, and they feel comfortable doing that to her. That's Denise. Denise is fine in challenges. She's not, she's a little bit older, but she's good in challenges. She's smart. She's strategic. She's social. And Denise is a triple threat, no doubt. A little bit older, again, doesn't quite have the notoriety, but again, Tribe doesn't win a lot of news pre-merge, so I don't know if that's gonna be an issue for her. But she's certainly a big time threat. I mean, there's Denise again, one of the best of all time to ever play. If ever lace them up, as they say. Do you remember Denise at all?
I remember the season now with Jeff Kent and first season of Malcolm.
Yep,
but don't remember her.
And Abby Maria was on that season. It was
okay.
Yeah. It was a really really fun season. And Denise again holds the record for only played every single tribal council. So I'm really excited to see what she can do. She is again a real solid player, and again she's the older mom that all the older moms who play Survivor want to be. The one that people confide in. And she can stab them in the back, and they don't feel bad about it. There's only 3 left.
3 left.
Who are they? Who's next?
Tony Vlachos.
The Greek god, Tony Vlachos. I'm so glad he's back. This is his 3rd season. He played season 28, played arguably one of the best games of all time against really good competition. He played, he was always thinking he was a villain. He was a heel that season. But he played balls to the wall. He dominated. He did well in every aspect of the game. He was good enough in challenges. He lied about everything. He found idols. He found a god idol like Yule had. He just dominated idols. He was idol finding machine. He lied about everything. Everything was on par. But he also got to the end. He tricked Wu and take him to the end. Even though Wu should have voted him out and won the game. He tricked Wu and take him to the end. Wu then took him to the end, and we got one vote out of 8. And Tony just ran away with it. And Tony is played one of the greatest games of all time. He is one of the best players of all time. He is the Greek god, Tony Vlachos. He then returned on Survivor Game Changers, and he and Sandra aligned the first vote to vote out Sierra, and the second vote, him and it was like two titans. They could not get along. They could not both work together. Mm-hmm. If they would have, it would have been the best. That season would have been one of the best seasons ever with Sandra and Tony on the same side. But they just couldn't do it. So they're like, well, we gotta do something. These two are oil and vinegar. They can't, vinegar and water. They can't, whatever. They can't coexist. So they did and said, well, one of them's gotta go. And Sanders said, well, let's get rid of Tony's ass. So they did. And they voted him out second boot of that season. He was obviously really upset about it. He's excited to be back. It's one of those things, though, where sometimes you have a really good season, then a really bad season, then another really good season. Tony is kind of lined for that, but Tony he can't go anything over 100 under 100 miles an hour. He will be going nonstop ridiculously the whole time. He had Spy Shack the first time. He set up he built a side of the shelter where you can sit there and listen to people talk. And they never knew it was there. So then he's like, well, so I did that the first season, now I have to build a spy bunker. So now I'm gonna dig under the ground and go like, all right, Tony, all right, calm down. He will be going 110 miles an hour from minute one of the game. He will be going 110 miles an hour, and that is very unnerving, and it's going to be really difficult to keep up. He has played now twice with Sarah. He won one, she won one. We'll see if this is the ultimate test, but she kind of played the Tony game when she won, but just didn't expect it to come from her because she was not as imposing. We'll see how it goes, but Tony is, again, one of the best of all time to play. I just don't think he'll be able to keep it in check long enough to not go off the rails. What do you think?
I just sat through the whole thing, not in my head, because I remember all this.
He was great. He is incredible TV. His initials are TV for a reason. His name is Tony Vlachos. He's Team TV. He is Team TV for sure. You want good TV, you got Team TV right there. We're getting close to our having to pause, but we'll see if we can get through one more.
You only have 2 minutes left, so why don't we pause? We're going to have to either splice in the next one or make a second video. We've just got 2 more users left.
All right, let's do that.
2 more players left.
All right, so let's do that. We'll go ahead and take a quick break. We'll be back in just a minute.